sitting here on the edge of this fucking Mayan temple, as high as I'm ever gonna fucking be in my whole goddamn life. Holy fuck, man.
Holy fuck, man, is right, eh?
Wow. Tripping and tripping.
Far out,
and
man.
Hallucinating it.
Sometimes I listen to Scarborough Dude and I say, oh man, shut the fuck up. But very kind. That was an episode called Carry On that our good friend Keith Courage put together. And for some reason, I decided as I drove along in my car today that I was going to listen to that episode. I hadn't for quite a while. And he did a nice job. But of course, there's a part of me that thinks, God damn, man. You are a fucking braggart. You are a very shallow man. You know, you're treating your stories like they were money, you know, like you're rich. And I shouldn't have done that. But anyway, that doesn't matter. It's done. It's behind me. And Keith liked it. Hey, you know, some other folks did, so that's good enough.
Their own. Come on, get your open yours. Collected by the borderline. It's all being served in your hands. Because they know it, so do I. The high road is hard to find. The detour to your new life.
All right, man, let's blab.
We're on. And I want to begin by thanking you.
Well, I'd like to thank you.
Invited me for being on your show. We've talked about doing this for quite a while,
right?
But this was the right time for it to happen.
I always thought this would be a cool thing. Is like after that XO, and it really is one of my favorite episodes. Like if I had to pick like my top 3 favorite XOs, it's definitely in there. And I've realized now because of that one and doing the one I'm doing now about Joel, I'm a lot more interested in doing shows about people I know. It's way more interesting to, I don't know, than just finding stuff online or whatever. Because I got all these ideas, like so-and-so gave a cool speech and I can add music in, but it's, I don't know, this is just better. It's like, I mean, obviously your show's out there. Someone could listen to it theoretically, but I know I'm definitely bringing it to more people who never heard it, you know?
Yes, and I guess that's where I'd have to say I've got the mixed feelings in that I don't think that many of those people who may enjoy your podcast in that episode, but that's not going to translate to more people listening to my show. Maybe a couple of curiosity, all right, do it, and a couple. But really, my show, it demands more of the listener. You gotta be willing to give an hour. Otherwise, this guy's not going to give you any big, exciting, breaking news story or something. He might review the news. So I'm very comfortable with my own podcast, and as an expression for me, I'm very proud of it. I'm very satisfied with it. I quite good. This feels good. It feels good doing it. But I have no illusions at all about other people being interested. I mean, lots of other people just, oh my God, that guy's so fucking boring. Why would I listen to that? It's just an old guy droning on. That's fine, because I'm talking about, my statement is that I'm trying to be authentic, and I think authenticity and honesty is a very, very high plane in life. This is something we should be trying to. I think it's what an artist strives for. Be real, express it. What is it? Painters and poets and they're just trying to tell some truth to some people, you know? So I'm not giving myself pretensions, but that's a founding theme of my podcast. Be truthful, but not hard-hitting. And again, my message is a lot of people just fucking won't care. And right. Good. And I tell them at the beginning, fuck off. Don't bother me. I don't want you in my space. This is my space. Friends only.
Gosh, golly gee, would this be 296? I think so. 296 episodes, 1 hour on average each of the Dixon Janes podcast. Yours truly, the host, the Scarborough Dude. If anybody out there is a new listener, for example, you heard from Keith McNally, an episode called Carry On. He said, this is a really cool guy, the Scarborough Dude, has been doing this for years. Well, that's me, this is me, and I bet you're saying right now, holy fuck, that guy is not nearly as interesting as Keith made him sound on that episode. Well, fuck you. Go stick your head up your ass, because I am. I just don't express it very well. Okay? Now, before you new listeners out there interrupt me, for Christ's sake, get some fucking manners. If you're new to the show, just shut the fuck up and listen. God damn it. There's some rules around here, okay? Don't fucking interrupt me. I don't need that. I don't want that. You don't like this? Fuck off. That's always been the mantra of the Dixon Janes podcast. Fuck off. You don't like it? Fuck off. Thank you. Jesus Christ almighty. Some of you are fucking ignorant. I don't particularly want you listening anyway, alright? So take off. Now, as I was saying before I was so rudely fucking interrupted. See what you've done to me? I'm starting off so calmly.
In some ways, I guess, because, I mean, your show, Dixon Janes, and my show, Ham Radio, very similar, even though we came about it independently. You know, just go, start recording, don't think it out ahead of time, just whatever's on your mind at the time. And I feel like I've kind of disowned Ham Radio in a way because I do all these other podcasts, but just the other day, someone Twittered me saying that Ham Radio is their favorite podcast. And I just, in a way, it's like, really? Because it's the same thing. And, like, isn't it boring?
Well, I've told you that. I've told you I like it better than XO. I told you that early on, like after doing it. Because, no, to me, the naked human is an interesting person. We all are.
Man, just today I had to unfollow somebody. Just because the first people I initially hung out with here in Toronto would be me and Picard would go, hear about like little get-togethers and shit through Twitter. Sometimes it was awesome. It'd be like after some kind of corporate get-together. And then they'd have like a free thing where you got like food and wine and like all kinds of shit and just hang out and chat. And we would just stroll into that. Even though we didn't go to the $400 a day seminar or whatever dumb fucking crap they were doing. But I ended up following some Twitterites that are big into just social media and just business culture in general. And it's just, I had to finally start cutting some of them out because it was just pissing me off on a day-to-day basis of, here's a fucking article about how to motivate your employees, and it's so fucking condescending. It's insane. It's just insane. These like manager types and the way they talk about things and their business speak. And it's like, I don't think anyone could take part in that who has really honestly just sat down and thought hard for a long time about how they're gonna die and how finite life is and how this is all we've got. There's just no way they would be so insanely disingenuous, and just the way they talk about people. They try so hard to be all sensitive and compassionate or understanding, but they talk about people like, not even just like cogs in their machine. That wouldn't even be as bad almost. They talk about them like they're children. People that need to be motivated. And it's like, you fucking dickheads. It's like, did they become twisted into this pretzel, or are they just like that? Is that just the kind of person they are, that they can't understand how to just be normal and be relatable and be a fucking person? That's all you gotta do, manage your fucking fuckfaces. You're a person, they're people, you all come together for some common business goal, and just act like that. Just talk like that. Don't fucking, it was getting to be just too much.
And we are stuck with the fact that the human personality is so complex, so strange, so real. The driving for my cousin described it as saying, he said, we are being driven by a million psychological propellers. Holy fuck. Like, boy, put that on a cellular level. What is it that makes me sit here? Well, it's ego. The only reason I'm sitting here with you, I got a big ego, and this guy's going to say nice things about me. I got to be fucking, Scarborough dude's important. Yeah, I like that. Fucking right, man. So that's a certain part of personality. Is that the only thing? No. It's just nice sitting here with you, Keith, face to face. You and I have been wanting to have this talk for a while. This was the time. It wasn't the time before. It's now.
Even
this is the
though,
beauty to that.
Do you ever feel like just the recorder? Isn't it weird? Like we're still just sitting here talking.
It's not there.
I can never forget that it's there. It always changes things for me.
It doesn't for me at all. It just doesn't. Now, that could be a complete lie. I could be completely lying right now. I'm definitely playing because I want to sound good. I want people to like me. It's not that I want to sound good voices, but I've explored that on my show a number of times. Why is it I have that need for people to like me? And I think it's sort of a bad thing, and yet it's kind of ridiculous. It's a natural thing. Everybody wants people to like them. Isn't it just a normal, who wants people to hate them?
That's true, I suppose. Well, one thing I always found particularly interesting about your show, I might have said this in the intro to that XO, I can't remember, but I'll get into it a little more, is I don't even know exactly how old my dad is. I don't even know when his birthday is. But he had me when he was 30, as far as I know, and I'm 31, so he's almost the same age as you. I guess that would make him 61, right?
Yeah.
So when you're 63.
Yeah, we're in the same bracket for sure.
And he's so closed off. He never talks about anything, and it's like, it's just such a pain in the ass. Like, I wish my dad had a fucking podcast, you know? Like,
yeah. Well, you see, that's partly why I do mine, though. You see, my father was a Morse code operator, so he lived in this secret world. Like, his world was in every house we had a radio room, and my dad would be in the radio room at night, and there was this Morse code key, which was reaching around the world. And I'm so blown away that podcasting is such a similar thing. It skipped a generation. He never taught us that. And I always felt the same. I'd see the back of my father's head, and then you couldn't go and talk to him. So when I went through group therapy in Vancouver, when I ended up in the group, when I ended up broken on the floor crying, I was crying out for my dad. Hey, whoa, I need you here. So listen, speaking of honesty, my psychiatrist, the last one I went to, and the reason I'm doing this is because, this is about a little bit of truth and so on. I think here's the message, okay? I'm reading John Lilly, Center of the Cyclone, first guy to work with dolphins, do LSD in a sensory deprivation tank, yeah, all that stuff. Because he was exploring inner space, good thing to do. But it reminds me of the time back in the 60s, or of the times the 60s. And again, I really feel the younger listeners to this podcast don't really have a handle. They think the 60s, or they may think the 60s is about the hippies, the fashion, the long hair, the rock music. That was only the superficial outside edge of it. The depth of some of the music, yes, that counted because it was trying to explain this age of the age of Aquarius, if you will. This age of a new awakening, a realization. That's what was happening. That's what was trying to happen. Some people made it, some people didn't. But there were many other movements going on in political consciousness and in self-awareness. And the drugs were not as an escape and not as a fuck you to the establishment, but as a way of reaching a higher plane, a way of trying to find enlightenment. Now, around the same time, my great psychologist who I admire so much, Carl Rogers, also was putting forward his theories about client-centered therapy, which morphed into group therapy and doctors and psychiatrists not treating individuals who came to them as sort of sick puppies, here, lie on the sofa and talk to me and I'll eventually tell you what's wrong. But as equals, we're all in this human game together, and life is complicated, and the therapy should be centered more around your needs, and get away with that barrier between the sick one and the doctor. But see us sharing this space, and then eventually group therapy when you work together with other people who also have all kinds of social hang-ups, as I went through, as I've told you many times before. Lucky enough to have studied it in college, and then in Vancouver when I really needed a doctor because of that bad acid trip or whatever it was we took, the one where I wanted to take the knife and plunge it into my chest because I'd be making love with the universe that way, making the oneness out of the two, the knife representing the physical universe, the planets, the asteroids, the things that are out there that make up the physical world, and my heart being the spirit, the self, the soul. And if I could just take that knife and plunge it deep into my chest, we'd be at one. And my girlfriend at the time thinking, no, that's not good, you need help, because she had already had a boyfriend who took maybe a little bit too much acid, didn't agree with him, and the clouds started talking to him, and next thing he recognized his mother as the devil and tried to kill her one night, and that kind of freaked her out. And when I start talking like a madman, she says, you need help, and off I go to the psychiatrist at University of British Columbia and get enrolled in this group therapy program. Best thing that ever happened to me. 7-8 weeks, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. So when I went through group therapy in Vancouver, when I ended up in the group, when I ended up broken on the floor crying, I was crying out for my dad. Hey, whoa, I need you here. And not being aware of that at all in the past. It was something deep-rooted that I missed. He wasn't a bad guy, and I'm still to this day, well, why do I have that need for my father? But I think as men we do. I think it's a real, one of those weird hurdles in life to get over, that somehow our relations with our parents, but especially with our father. You're close to your mother. And I was very close to my mother. I love my mother. It was much easier. My father was quite distant. And yet it was resolved when he died, and before, I love him, and I understand him because I can put him in a historical context. Men have to be part of their job, be their food provider, go to work, suffer silently, and turn the upbringing of your children over to the mother, because she knows best.
So before this point with the group therapy, was your dad already dead at that point?
No. And that's the wonder of it. They told me, okay, man, the only way you're going to resolve your issues is you got to bring your mom and your dad to the group therapy night in front of all the other parents. I said, fuck you. I would never put my parents through that pain. Like, they were private people. Because I got a few fucking hang-ups, I'm going to drag my parents through hell? No, it's not, had they tortured me or something. Maybe. No. Why would I hurt these people who just did the best they could at the time? So refused, absolutely. But, that was another thread I just lost.
So you never ended up bringing your parents?
Oh, no. So, at all. And I'm glad I didn't. Somebody else did, and I saw, and the father was on the stage and liked the commanding role. But those are just people who are just going through most of the parental issues, I guess, if you look at it. Relationships with the parents, or disapproval, or whatever. The liberating thing about group therapy, because we had a police, we had a social, we had all kinds of people in it. And this Dr. Canoma, he was a Czech experimental psychologist at the University of British Columbia. This was a great new control group. This is what I studied in university, Carl Rogers, client-centered therapy. This was it in real life. Well, we're going to drop you in the group. You're going to interact with all the people in that group 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. And you realize everybody is frail. Everybody is fragile. Everybody can be so easily broken. Everybody is just made up of this pain and these needs and these... We've built this thing called personality. We've built these really weird structures that are ourselves. So we invest a lot of money. You being Keith McNally, me being the Scarborough dude. We've invested a lot of our fucking lives in being somebody. Wow. So I don't know. There are times I just simply don't get life. You just gotta live it. You gotta go through it. But boy, trying to figure it out is just a mind fuck all the time.
Speaking of ego shit, since I live like an hour away, it took me an hour to walk here because I don't want to pay for the streetcar. Hey, it's a nice walk. But I thought on the way here, I was like, I wonder if I'm the most famous person from my high school. But Brad pointed out that there's this chick who's a singer who's probably more famous than me. But still, number 2 is not bad.
Well, basically, what you're saying, it's important to you, too. You're owning up to it.
That's the other thing. It's in, like, who gives a
But
shit?
don't you have to
Why
ask
do I care?
why?
Yeah,
Don't you have, well, so what? It has to be fulfilling some need. Well, whose need? Who laid that down on me? Where's that coming from, Well, I would love to be rid of my ego, but I don't think I ever will be in my lifetime. And that's what I was saying when I played show 3, when I listened to when I'm getting close to show 300. I didn't see that big leap in personal growth,
Right.
So it's kind of funny to look at it that way, and maybe that will make listeners, because one of my roles of my podcast is to make the listener feel good. I want the people listening to realize, as I learned in group therapy,
Is that why you yell so often at them?
Well, I'm just
Fuck you if you don't like what
those are the ones I
I'm
don't
talking
want. Those are the ones I don't want. Those are the guys I'm telling to give me some breathing space because you need it.
Not to derail you, but I remember the first time we ever met was at Say What down the street from here. Real briefly. It was only for like half an hour or something. But I remember you brought up my occasional outbursts on ham radio and how angry I'll get all of a sudden. And then listening to your show, I'm like, he fucking does that all the time.
My little trips to the doctors helped me, set me on this road, the road I'm on now, reaching the point where I'm at now, 63 in 2 weeks. Holy fucking goddamn Jesus Christ. Do I fucking feel good? And yes, I may sound like a madman as I sit in my car screaming at you, but I'm screaming at you because I want you to fucking understand that what I'm saying, well, what I'm saying I thought was important. Perhaps it's not that important, but what am I trying to say? That we're all fucked up. Okay, that's the thing I learned in group therapy. Everybody's fucked up. There is nothing normal about being human. Get that through your fucking head. There is nothing normal about life, about waking up as a sentient being. There is nothing normal. We try and blind ourselves. Holy fuck, I gotta be a sports fan. Holy fuck, I gotta follow the Stanley Cup playoffs. Holy fuck, I gotta see that movie. Holy fuck, I gotta care what Charlie Sheen does. Holy fuck, I gotta throw myself into this job. Holy fuck, I need a promotion. Holy fuck, I gotta fit into this social game. Fuck you. You don't, you asshole. Just think.
Well, I got a nice little post from Dave Delaney down in Tennessee today, sort of saying 3 people who are interesting characters, and he included me, and he referred to me as a grumpy old man. And I thought, gee, I don't think I've really been playing up that role. Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe it's time to become even grumpier, to do that. But what I was saying to the guys outside when we had our first talk before we started recording was, you got to be aware it's good to be alive, and you got to be tuned into it, and you got to be living in such a way that you really are enjoying it, because it's real and it gets spent penny by penny, second by second. Your life is spent until it comes to an end, and there is no rewind. And time, cruelly, the worst trick at all, and any old person will tell you that, accelerates as you get older, and you're so pissed. Hey, I'm just learning shit now. Can't you slow it down a bit so I can enjoy it more? No. Time, as through your life, accelerates.
Well, that's something you said just, I think it was on the most recent Dixon James, or 1 or 2 ago, that was kind of, it's just one of these jarring statements, because you don't seem like an old guy at all. You don't act like an old guy. You don't even really look like an old guy.
I think
I mean, you got some gray hair, but I've got some gray hair.
I feel very young. I feel very young.
And you mentioned that, you're 63. There's no guarantees you'll make it to 70, and that's like this shocking thing to say, but you're not wrong.
Well, it's a fine. No, exactly. And I'm very aware, and I think you have to be. And it's one of the blessings of going older is you get very aware of the finite amount of time you have. And with that, I think you the only option is to surrender a little more and let go and say, okay, well, all right, now, how do I slow down enough to enjoy this moment?
Oh, God, I sound out of breath, don't I? I really should be exercising. God, I should make it an effort. Instead of getting that scare, from the doctor, I should make a real effort to start doing walking every day and maybe even jogging. And one of these days, maybe when I'm 70, I'm going to take up swimming because I know that's the best thing for you. And I had a near drowning experience as a teenager in a public swimming pool. My mother, in her English way, sort of tapped the lifeguard. I believe my son might be having a little trouble. I'm going under and I'm hanging onto some guy's ear, pulling him down with me, in the deep end. Didn't know I couldn't swim, just got out there, realized, oh, fuck, I can't touch the bottom. Uh-oh. Panic. It was scary. And I've also, when I sat in the office, it was going through my mind that I might die before the end of my 60s. Like, and I'm not playing for sympathy or anything here. Just in my mind said, I don't know if I'll reach 70. 63 in a couple of weeks, I don't know. But no particular reason. Just kind of that thought, and then the next thought that follows that, of course, and then when I do hit 70, hey, bonus time! I got a whole, hitting the jackpot. You got a whole bonus round, another decade to play with.
I'm doing a little jolt at pub here. You got to help me with this thing. I got to share this with you. Put it that way. I'm doing a jolt at pub. I put in because I like to get up in front of that group, and that's a nice prestigious little gathering of podcasts.
Oh, by the way,
Canada's history.
I don't mean to derail, but you remember how proud I was that when I went to New York to do Keith and the Girl roast, I was like, I'm going to do it Scarborough Dude style. I barely planned. I'm just going to get up there and start talking. It didn't go so good.
You have to believe it.
In that case, I should have planned a little more. But anyway, go on.
Well, you see, this is the issue I'm facing because I'm doing a 5-minute jolt, and it's in front of a group of people, and everybody has high expectations. So part of the message I want to give is that fuck the higher expectations. Let everybody be average and quit striving for excellence and shit like that. It just puts unnecessary pressure on people, and some people who might want to do a podcast but think, well, I can't be as good as this person or that person or so on, or just might hinder them somehow. And my very opening statement when I started with the podcast was thanking the Bob and AJ show for setting the bar so low that anybody could do. And I really did feel, basically it was a nice way of saying, hey, we're in it together, but you guys, it's not an elitist thing. So I want to be known as a podcaster evangelist, because I think this is one of the most beautiful, important things. This to me parallels the 1960s, this spread of podcasting, people voicing themselves, who they are. One of my earliest PAB conferences I went to, I spoke to somebody, it was on the side over a coffee or something. He said, my goal is I got to get to 5,000 subscribers. You got a plan? You got a goal? Why would you have a goal? To what purpose? Isn't it all about what's the show you're going to put on? And it's so many other people are caught up with, I'm going to do this thing, but not about what is it you're actually giving to people? What are you sharing? What is it that you want people to do with their listening time and their what obligation do you have to your listeners is the question. I think podcasters do. I feel that. That's a driving force in mine,
Well, I guess that's the thing with the way I see with Final Countdown is regardless of how it's basically I guess that's all I feel like I owe listeners is that we should be having fun.
Yes.
I think they could tell if we weren't.
Exactly. And that's all it should be.
But that's one thing, I don't know if we ever traced the full lineage either of that you're the one who set up this podcast night at the Imperial, and that's where Vinyl Countdown got started, and that's where I met Joel.
I take great pride in that at least 3 times a week.
Right, and this next XO is all about Joel, and it's...
Well, honestly, this is one of the things that gives me so much delight, is that Joel got into this group and became such an integral part of your group and so on, and this to me, honestly, the joy, the satisfaction. This is my job, right? I've got a job I get paid for, but this I'm happier about the reward of the fact that all these connections, old friends and new ones got together and they're doing this thing. That's wow.
Great. That's one thing I wanted to ask you about is recently you also mentioned on Dixon Janes about you re-listened to the XO and and you're like, I was really so boastful, so full
I didn't like myself, and particularly hearing it. So, and you picked certain points which were.
And I mean, obviously, I loved that shit because I'm the one who picked all that stuff. Like, I could have picked all kinds of other stuff. Yeah. The only one, I mean, that I left in because I thought it was funny because it was kind of petty was that lady at your work where you're just
I think that's the best thing there. I think
Okay.
that's to me that's far more important than anything else. No bragging. So yeah, I am a bitter and I'm annoyed at this stupid. But I've always hated women like that. That's why I was having the discussion with Janine before. People who were just good. Need good. Good is bad, right? Being good is bad.
So what years did you go through high school?
I would have started high school in 84
84.
and graduated 89.
89. Okay, see, I started 61, graduated 66.
Yeah.
I probably would have pulled your hair in elementary school.
Well, you see,
you got red hair. You had red hair
I
back
had
then.
red hair, and
Well, you're the worst. The red hairs are the worst.
Yeah, well, and I remember I wore on St. Patrick's Day. I wore a pink ribbon in my hair. I had a long hair, and it was braided, and I was being made fun of, and I went to the counselor. I was only in grade 4 or 5, right? I was a little kid. And I said, I'm so sad because they're making such fun of me. And she turned to me and said, well, you really shouldn't have worn a pink ribbon on St. Patrick's Day.
No, you mean it should have been green?
Yeah. And that basically you're asking for it. She actually said it to me.
Do you take any solace in the fact that counselor is probably dead now?
No, she was a horrible counselor. Honestly, horrible. It was
Oblivious to the whole thing.
Oblivious to the whole thing.
And got teased for it.
And I got
and you went and tattled. See, that's another reason why I wouldn't like you. You're a tattletale. I hated tattlers. Honestly, back in school, had we been around, ended up in the same thing. I would have hated you for your red hair. I would have hated you because you were a do-gooder. I hated you because you could talk properly. Hated you because you just, you squealed on people. You probably, if somebody did something wrong, you probably told the teacher.
Probably.
So you deserve to be bullied. You were the type who should have asked for it.
I said that.
Yeah, okay. Well, there we go. I just needed to.
You're mean.
Yes, I was mean. It was a matter of survival.
And do you regret it? Or do you think that's what made you who you are? I mean,
I was properly shamed. I told you that. When I left school, I was very ashamed of myself for the amount of cheap laughs I used to get. Like, I humiliated a couple of teachers. I did it deliberately to bring down. And I hurt a couple of teachers publicly, and I feel really shamed for that. I've done a lot of things in my life I feel shamed for, and it was a cheap laugh. See, I got away with being my role in high school to survive. I wasn't a brain, I wasn't a jock, I wasn't this or that, but I became the class clown, and I took a lot of pride in it. And every year throughout, I was one of the clowns. And
clowns aren't bullies. Clowns aren't mean.
Not necessarily a bully, no. And I never got beat up because of it, because even the toughest guys really liked my smart mouth.
Yes.
And so it was my survival. And basically high school was about survival.
Yeah.
So that part wasn't so bad. It was just, all right, I'll get through it, I'll find it. I'm not afraid to be thrown out of class or have a teacher pissed off at me. That's cool.
I don't know. See, like all this stuff, I really do. It's almost ridiculous how much I love EXO since I make it. It's like, I guess again, you're not supposed to say this type of shit, but I think
it's a work of art. And I think your story. What I was blown away by, and you never talk about it, was you say you wrote that story, the coffee.
No, yeah, Black Coffee. Sure, yeah, I wrote it years ago.
Well, that's excellent.
Well, thanks.
That's really good. Like, that's what you should be. I mean, you should be make it into
I've actually got
whatever
somebody,
ebook or something else, or however you want to do it.
Somebody right now who offered his wife is gonna read another story of mine if I'll just finish writing it, and every couple months he Facebooks me like, we're still waiting, and I'm like, we'll totally do this, and I just haven't finished it. Writing is hard. I don't like it. Well, you were gonna be a writer. Yeah. It's fucking impossible. It's so hard.
Well, I knew day one all, but what it bought me was time, because I had to you got to get through life. You got to get people off your back. So my definition up to 27 was, well, I'll just be a writer, and that's why I'm making these choices, and everything is for experience, and each experience I have is giving me material. This is what Kerouac did, and I thought this is my satisfactory answer. And because everybody else was getting jobs, my friends at that age were getting real jobs at this point. Well, who are you? Why are you the oddball? And so this writer was a nice little answer to every package, And then sat down in Toronto. Of course, realized no, it was impossible. Can't do this at all. But I'm glad, very proud of the fact there was a Dixon James zine for 20 years, 4 times a year. So there's something weird about me that's consistent. The fact that I'm putting on 300 podcasts weekly that I don't consider work at all. It's just totally effortless escape. It's a flow. But the same when I did this zine, the Dixon James zine, for 20 years, like 4 issues a year. It took up 12, 16 pages, putting people's letters, email, typing, putting pictures. But the idea being to connect people, to create a tribe. And so I'm a big advocate of the Dixon James tribe. People will get this little message of peace. And I think we need more tribes and subgroupings and sub-tribes to start seeing the commonness and joining together.
It is kind of like an embarrassment of riches now, right? How easily we can be connected or have podcasts and have websites compared to, like what would you say the reach of the zine was? Like,
well, it was never more than 50 people. But you see, back then I didn't care either. I knew it was good. I knew it was a neat thing. I was keeping. We moved apart in our lives. We ended up in different cities. Got a friend in Singapore, another friend in Bangkok, another friend here, somebody in Vancouver, somebody still in Montreal. Let's put together this newsletter and just share our letters and so on and pool it and put out common stuff. So it was taking the idea of the internet and just piecing things together like you see in all these other software programs now. So that's another piece of braggartry. But I guess what I'm saying is there's such a straight side to me. I'm such a Joe citizen. And I love the fact that I can be both. I can be, plug right into this normal world and be a responsible citizen, which is something I feared when I was younger I could never do. But at the same time, I have a great deal of freedom, creative freedom and fun with doing it, So I'm a little self-conscious about how I just sounded, but I needed to get that message out.
Well, again, to go back to, with the XO and the I'm a fucking hero. I mean, I was amazed that I buy into that. I totally do. I think I understand what you mean. It makes total sense to me. I was amazed at the resistance to that idea.
Now I feel good having those memories and looking back at the richness, the fabric of my life. I feel fucking good now. Proud of what I've done. Fuck you and your fucking pensions and everything else. God damn it. Told you the story, off to Japan, eloping, running away with a wife. What a fucking adventure, god damn it. Yes, I'm a fucking hero. I'm sorry that I have to scream it at you, but I gotta tell myself that. I need this little bit of reassurance today about what my life has been all about. And god damn it, as I think back to all of those stories, I feel so fucking proud and so fucking good about what I did. God damn it. And I guess I better end there as I'm standing, glaring, staring into the sun, shining on the sea, and it's sparkling, and it's God screaming back to me. That's what's happening, folks, as the sun dazzles on the waves, and it's absolutely beautiful and brilliant and light, and I'm alive, standing on this fucking corner, on this pier, on this point in this park. It's just fucking all so wonderful, and I'm alive like I was alive when I was in my 20s. This is great. This is just fucking great.
people get literal at times, right?
Right.
People just do.
Oh well, I'm about to put it in, but I love the clip that you put in Dixon Janes where I don't know, my friend Mike, who from Vinyl Countdown, was one of the naysayers. That's not a hero. There's no way that's a hero.
Yeah.
And then he's like, hey, and the new Dixon Janes Scarborough dude talks about this, and I was like, oh no, I hope he doesn't backpedal. But you totally didn't. You were like, okay, maybe I'll use a different word. Sorry, that's not the dictionary definition. But I was glad you didn't back down from that.
Good. Well, now that you say that, I'm glad I didn't too.
Yeah, well, it's these things that I guess from the outside it seems easy. It doesn't seem like that big a deal that I moved to Vancouver by myself. Maybe you moved all over the place, and I guess to people who haven't done it, they're like, oh, anyone could have done that, but they don't fucking know how hard and how important it was.
Yeah, it's wrenching to make these things, but
Because doesn't it seem like the two paths in the woods? Like, try to imagine the other version of you that didn't do that. It's like, what the fuck would that guy be like? That'd just be the worst.
I can't. I find that really well. I did. I actually came up because I got on a blog, a Facebook group about my old hometown where I grew up as a kid, Valleyfield, Quebec. And had I stayed in Valleyfield, Quebec, I think my world would have been much, much smaller than it turned out to be.
Fighting them street by street, corners by corners. They are obviously trying to use live ammunition. There's a lot of killings.
There are also reports that at least some units of the Libyan army may be siding with anti-government protesters. Journalists have been
Fucking
entry into the
station.
country, but this protester was reached
I know,
by phone
fucking
in
static.
The army tank is here, stand with the people. Three tanks, and the people are now...
Here's me complaining about static and other people getting shot.
We are the citizens of this country, and we cannot fight our citizens. We respect our people, we just need to fight them.
So some of those
Just units from the army. Not
could be
all the
considered
army.
heroes, okay?
They
Want to get to that point now?
about 30 people killed and about 200 people injured.
All right.
Earlier,
Turmoil
Libya
throughout
issued a blunt warning that
the world
protesters would be met by
at this point. After the fall of Tunisia and Egypt, if you're looking for historical reference.
convicted Mark Edward Grant in the not
And things happening really, really fast. Now, I've just got to pick up on a very, very minor point. It has been questioned whether or not the Scarborough dude is actually a hero. Fucking right, I'm a goddamn fucking hero. But perhaps we have different definitions of what constitutes a hero. And if you talk about a guy who maybe stands in front of a tank in Tiananmen Square because he's not happy at the way the communist government controls all aspects of people's lives, no, Scarborough dude is not a hero. He's not standing in front of an army, military, police. He's not, marching against guns. He's not off in Afghanistan with the military because he believes this is right and that's wrong. So in those traditional ways of defining your fucking narrow-minded hero, no, the Scarborough dude's not a hero. Never meant to be, never claimed to be. The Scarborough dude's a fucking hero on the grounds that he has chosen how to live his own life. Okay? So that's how I use the term hero. Alright? Perhaps I should have used another word. But what I meant simply was, you gotta take control of your life, make your decision, your plans. Don't get sucked in. Don't just follow whatever somebody else has laid out for you. Make choices in your life. Take control of your life. Do what you want to do. Follow your values. Decide for yourself what your priorities are. And for me, I call that kind of heroic. Let's help me find a better word, okay? Let's get rid of hero because, gosh, golly gee, you get all mixed up with John Wayne and gunslingers and shooters and soldiers and fighter pilots and firemen and policemen and everybody else who could be considered a hero. Even Timothy Leary. Now there's a hero. okay? Jack Kerouac, not so much. No, he was a writer. Timothy Leary, he was a hero. Allen Ginsberg, there's a hero. Henry Miller, now there's a fucking hero. Those guys are heroes. I'm not a hero in that category here. I'm a nobody. But hey, I'm very happy that I've lived the life I've lived. That was my point. I've done things I'm proud of. I faced up to challenges. I've done things that were difficult for me. So in those relative terms, if you can allow hero to be sort of relatively defined, yeah, I'm a hero. A big fucking hero. Anyway, boys and girls, sorry I had to take you through that, but I had to get that out of the way.
And so there's the unpredictability of life. There's no way of ever planning out or mapping out a future. Every little event.
Well, I think that's
plays
what I
a role.
knew is like when I look back at for a fucking 31-year-old, I'm retardedly nostalgic. I spent a lot of time thinking about the past. But that's the branch where the move into Vancouver. Like at that point, nothing. Like I wouldn't take any of that back anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And it even makes the stuff before it okay because any fuck-ups before that like delayed me to just that perfect point where all this awesome stuff started happening. Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Well, no, you're saying, oddly enough, everything went as it was meant to be. Everything went as it was supposed to be. And I think you arrive at those points in life and realize, holy fuck, that's always going to be true. But the problem is we can't hang on to that truth. It's too ephemeral. It leaves us too often, and we just get caught in whatever little gear or groove we happen to be in. But the idea that you're on the edge of the wave, that you're continually surfing, like we're surfing through life. You're right on that cutting edge. Every decision you make, everything you decide is just surfing, and you want to surf masterfully. You want to do a good job of it. You know, when you recognize that, oh, that's where I'm at. Oh, I don't want to fall. I don't want to hit a wall. I want to just get smoothly, if I can, through life. You know?
I'm trying to think of what it was you were saying earlier. I meant to bring this up and I forget exactly how we got onto it. But there's this guy named Colin Marshall, who he was one of the first guys to review XO, and he's this dude from California. He's like 25, and he's like works like crazy. He's got a radio station thing, and he writes the stories, just like work. And he's always posting these weird things to his Twitter, like if someone only does work when they want to do it, does that even count? Like he's just so obsessed with like flagellating himself all the time for not working hard enough. And I don't know, it's weird because I'm only a few years older than him, but I feel like, man, he's gonna get past it. He's just gonna learn to relax.
You see, I still haven't got you though. Like I'm still trying to, and you know, I was serious about that time. Okay, here, map out. What have we got a 5-year plan for Keith here? And I was just reminded tonight, hey, well, people get locked in jobs they don't want to do and they're miserable about it. Keith knows what he likes to do with his time and doesn't want to spend it in a miserable way. And so in that sense, you're quite successful in doing what it is you want to do. But there's that conservative streak in me that just keeps us somewhere along. And again, it's got to be my age, my time, my conditioning. To see the beauty, the challenge you get from work, from dealing with other people, from having to be put into an awkward situation. Taking a couple of punches is a good thing to do. And maybe you don't need that. I think for a lot of people, you do. Like I knew, and it's almost like going in looking for punishment. I know that sounds a bit sick.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand. I mean, yeah, there's no question that the more, like I feel like I'm in. Well, I don't know, it's almost a bad thing where I've gotten so comfortable with the idea that I really am just like the classic third generation, you know? I don't have to work anymore, I don't have to worry.
Well, there's a lot, the thing is, to me, and it comes out every time I come out here, it is a game. Our lives are a game. This whole podcasting thing is a game, and it's fun. It's fun connecting with people. Like, why just sitting talking? Like, well, that's all you do. I don't have to make money from you. You don't have to get something from me. I can sit here and be able to talk and exchange ideas and so on. Wow, that's a good thing. That's what people are supposed to be doing. All right?
So, since we've determined that you're going to die in like a year or whatever.
Before you. Long before you.
So, I don't know, did this ever come up on Dix and Janes? But what are your thoughts on the afterlife, on God?
Well, I've come up all the time on Dix and Janes, and I'm an atheist. There is no afterlife.
I just assumed that, but I was like,
that's the whole. I mean, has to be your starting point.
I wasn't sure if I was projecting that on you, or if you did say it.
Only this year that I came out and I finally realized, it's time to own up to this, acknowledge the fact that I am an atheist. Of course, not that I've been dallying with anything else. Maybe I hadn't just even thought it through. But you read Christopher Hitchens and you listen to people and you think about it, just apply your mind to it and say, okay, yeah, well, this is it. But that always takes you right back down to your own life. Okay, if this is it, one chance only, nothing afterwards, God damn it, I can't afford to waste any time now. I've got to be making the most of this. I've got to be sitting on that rock on the edge of Lake Ontario, feeling the breeze coming into your face and feeling the warm sunshine beating on your face and sort of almost slowing down time for a little bit to celebrate, this cutting edge. When I drove my son out west, sometimes when you're driving and you're going down a curvy mountain road following a river, and you're not even thinking about the turn ahead, of how you turn that steering wheel. You're just holding it, and it's just going to turn because you are just surfing that highway. You are just going, and as the road curves, gently your hand kind of goes to the right place, and gently goes back. And it's such a wonderful feeling, this flow of life, this whole, stop fighting, stop pushing back, just give yourself this wonderful opening. Surf. I'm not trying to be melodramatic or anything from here. It probably sounds that way, but I'm into this.
I thought Joel had one of the best ways of putting it. It was such a weird, bananas way to say it, but his same thing with like, you're dead. So if you spend the afternoon playing video games, that's okay. Because I don't know, it's like, isn't the opposite of what people would say? They're like, oh no, you gotta run around like a chicken with your head cut off.
Which is the stupidest thing. Hey.
Man, and some.
But I think that's true for anything in life. I mean, a lot of people race around chasing dreams and trying to get hold of something, thinking and are never satisfied. And they're doing it on this stupid, superficial level of a bigger house, a bigger car, a better trophy wife, and all these crazy little games. And a lot of people actually play that game, locked into having more than the other guy, being somehow above the other guy. You fucking stupid assholes. You've never even looked at it. You don't even know what it is to be alive. You're playing this stupid competitive game. Well, I'm tempted to go in the other room and see what's going on there.
Yeah, so I don't know, any final words? Wrap this up?
Well, I think it tapered off, and it's a nice sort of tapering off. I enjoyed. I think it was a good thing we did, and we probably need to do it once more sometime.
Yeah, well, I also just thought this would be interesting if there are people that listen to that XO but haven't taken the step to go listen to Dix and Janes. Like, I just thought they might like to just hear us blab a little bit. I thought that would be cool.
No, that's good. That's good. I'm happy.
The main reason I started doing this 5-6 years ago was for therapy. It's a form of psychotherapy, and I'm very serious about that. It's a way of getting a lot out of your system and realizing, I think, some of your own potential and just dealing with issues you have. So a lot of my show is totally unscripted, as is this speech, more of a stream of consciousness, and it's tremendously liberating. And I do it of this handheld recorder, sit in a park and just let out whatever's happening to me at that time. I mentioned the therapy part. I've lived in Asia for a while, and I've come back with a very, very nice technique of, I think of when I'm stressed, of having a pickup truck, or not a pickup truck, a trailer truck full of fucks. And when I'm stressed, I sit in my car and I start saying, fuck, oh, fuck, fucking fuck. And it's tremendous. And some people use om and other maybe gentler words. This is mine. It's very, very liberating, and it frees yourself. I unload. This is it. I unload an entire truck, pallet by pallet, full of fucks, and it's surprising. It might work for you, it might not. But that's one of the things. Second reason I do it is I look down the panel. These are friends of mine. These are people I like, I trust, I love. But I never would have met them had it not been for this community, which is very much like the church I've always been looking for, this community of podcasting. It's a beautiful thing. Friendship, especially when in our society you get to be old, you don't meet younger people. I can relate, talk to different people, different ages. There's a beauty to that doesn't exist in too many other mediums.
But that's it. We've gone 20 minutes total, and we're going to just put this baby to rest right now. And I'm going to get on to my office and get started, do some productive things today. I got stuff to do. I'm excited. It's a new world. It's a challenging. I'm fucking alive. I'm fucking healthy. I'm fucking free. I've got the fucking world by the balls. Well, gently by the balls. Gently, 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 you know. You don't want to squeeze the balls of the world. You wanna be nice, and I don't even want to fucking touch them. How do I get there? God damn it! Oh, the tits, the tits. That's a little better, yeah. Okay, all right, time to stop. You know that. Bye.
What amounts to a dream anymore? A crude device, a veil on her eyes. A simple plan, we'd be different.
Okay, now for the end of the episode. What fucking episode is it, for fuck's sake?
We're paralyzed. Where'd it go? All that precious time. Did we even try to stem the tide?
You can find Scarborough Dudes podcast at dixonjanes.blogspot.com. For more episodes of XO, please visit keithcourage.com.
The longer we wait around, the faster the years go by. It's not too late to feel a little more alive. Make our escape before we start to vaporize. Doubtless, we've been through this, so if you wanna follow me, then you should know I was lost then, and I'm lost now, and I doubt I'll ever know which way to go. Good enough. I don't want to try it again.